Hello and welcome back for another round of World Talks where every word matters. My name is Don Arleth, and of course we are going to touch on the topic of Ukraine and get the latest from the country when we're joined by Sergej Sumlenny, Director for the European Resilience Initiative Center. He is joining us live from Zaporizhzhya. Hello, Sergej, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Don. Thank you for having invited me today.
Absolutely. So you're in Zaporizhzhya, and well, what are you doing down there?
Well, yes, exactly. It's Zaporizhzhya. It is a regional center in the south of Ukraine. The Zaporizhzhya regional administration office is just behind my back. The Dnieper River is like about 600 meters in another direction. And we are bringing drones for the Ukrainian army. Like a lot of people, like over thousands of people, actually, according to our internal stats, have donated their money for purchasing of drones for the Ukrainian army, for the 47th Brigade, mechanized brigade, to be precise. And overall, we have raised like over 19,000 euro. And now we are delivering the second batch of the drones. Like the first one has already been dispatched 3 weeks ago. Now it is the second batch, and these drones will be used by the 47th Brigade to liberate next cities like Robotyne. They have been used already in Robotyne. Now the 47th Brigade is liberating further like Ukrainian cities and towns and villages. And I'm really amazed like how much the Europeans support this case and how much people are willing to donate.
Yeah, it's a really important effort. This is great work that you guys are doing. And actually, I spent some time with the 47th up around Bakhmut a few months back. And, well, just a little personal experience. We were walking through a tree line trying to get to the zero line positions. And we heard a drone fly overhead. And let me tell you, the fear that goes through your body when you don't know whose drone it is, well, it's terrifying, to say the least. Drones are really important in this war. It's been important for Ukraine especially, but the Russians seem to be, well, picking up the pace as far as, according to the General Staff of Ukrainian Armed Forces, they say that in some places around 250 or 300 Russian drones can be swarming an area at one time. Have you heard anything on the ground there for how problematic Russian drones have become for Ukrainian forces?
Yes, absolutely. You're right. Like we see now first, this war is war of drones. It is war of aerial drones like UAVs. It is also war of naval drones. And it is a war of like distance weapons like cruise missiles and other cases. Like we know that the Russians have now some sort of oversupply of these drones. One of the most important producers of these drones is the Chinese DJI. There are rumors on the Ukrainian side that DJI is intensively supporting Russia with the drones. At least they know that these Mavic drones are being extensively used by the Russians. I cannot confirm it, but that's what I heard from the Ukrainian army. What I know personally is that it is extremely complicated to purchase these drones in Europe. What we do, like we buy them, we bring them here. But I know that there are not so much Mavic drones now in stocks in Europe, and many smaller scale sellers, they want to be sure that these drones are not being delivered to Ukraine, because the DJI company, what I was taught by the dealers, by the sellers in Germany, they demand a written guarantee that these sellers can guarantee that these drones will not go to Ukraine. So when you buy them, you can get a question, okay, is this drone will be sent to Ukraine? And if you send, okay, like I don't want to disclose it, and say, we don't sell it to you. Right. So yes, there are problems. Of course, the Russians also have their Lancet drones. It is actually the only Russian-produced weapon which is a success. It is a loitering munition, which is being used in a combination with the observation drones. And this is also a problem. But we have seen during the last hours that the Ukrainians are capable to hit the Russian military bases, also obviously with cruise missiles. Like this night, the Russian military base in Russia-occupied Sevastopol in Crimea has been hit. And we know that at least 2 Russian vessels have been at least damaged. And when Russians say they're damaged, most probably they're destroyed. It's a landing ship, Rapucha class, and it's a Killer-class submarine, which is already good news.
Yeah, and that's, you know, you see the
Oh,
Increasing.
we have currently air raid alerts now. You can hear it maybe.
Yep, yep, we can
So
hear
that
it.
is what is happening in Zaporizhzhya every day, because the Russians they launch their missiles and their drones into direction of Zaporizhzhya, and sometimes they just want to hit Orikhiv. It's a smaller town like south from Zaporizhzhya, but of course you never know. So this air raid siren is permanent here and making life really uncomfortable for citizens here. It's like it's
Right.
100% terror what the Russians are doing.
Right. Well, have you noticed, because there have been a lot of attacks, Zaporizhzhya, Dnipro, and have you noticed that civilians are a little bit more reactive to those air raid alarms?
Well, this is like within the last 2 hours is the second alarm here in Zaporizhzhya, which I heard personally. We know that the Russian missiles hit Zaporizhzhya regularly. Like the last hit with 2 wounded people happened like 3 days ago. Then 1 week ago, there was another hit with 2 killed civilians, 2 wounded. So Zaporizhzhya is in a direct range of Russian ballistic missiles and Russian these modified air defense missiles, which they have modified to hit ground targets. So it is like the S-300 missiles, which are normally been designed for hitting aerial targets, but the Russians have redesigned like to hit ground targets. So they have absolutely no precision. Like it's a terror weapon. It's like what Hamas is using, but they are very high speed and they are extremely complicated to be intercepted. I can say like that Ukrainians mostly they cannot intercept it, especially on this short range.
Right.
So when S-300 missile is being shot, is being like fired, then with 100% probability it will hit its target, but nobody knows where. So you just like look at the air and see, okay, maybe this time it will be not me.
Yeah. It's totally random. It's totally random. I've had a close call with one of those as well. Well, moving on now, we also have something else I want to discuss, and that is the situation with the production of Ukrainian drones. We mentioned DJI are getting, they're cracking down. They don't want their drones going into Ukraine. Probably they're supplying Russians with a significant amount of those drones. But there's a lot of homegrown drones in Ukraine that have been coming out slowly. How are those taking shape? I mean, are they gaining momentum? Are they getting into the hands of the soldiers on the front lines?
Absolutely, and we need to see like there are a lot of different producers of drones in Ukraine. Of quite different levels. From very small FPV drones. FPV is for first-person view. That means that the operator of the drones has like some sort of glasses of goggles, and the operator is seeing real time what his or her drone is seeing. So these drones having a smaller ammunition attached to them. It is either a grenade or an RPG, anti-tank grenade or something like that. And it flies into the target. So the operator guides it into the target, which increases precision. They're extremely cheap. They cost like 500 euro per piece. And each of these drones can kill at least like one soft target, a truck, maybe a tent, a group of soldiers, etc. They are being used in combination with observation drones. But the Ukrainians also produce like long-range attack drones, which they have used to attack Russian air bases. And they're now producing these Shark drones. Shark drones is much more serious thing. It is more a battalion-level drone, which can be used in long missions, in observation and attack. So Ukrainians really start to produce their own stuff. And because they understand they cannot be dependent on what the Chinese are delivering to them, it's exactly what we should do in Europe too.
Right, and it gets around some of the problems with DJI. The DJI drones are, they can be shut down in certain areas, at certain altitudes, certain areas.
Yeah, it's not only like when we buy DJI drones, we bring them to Ukrainian army. The first thing they do in Ukraine, they wipe their software because the Chinese installed the software which allows to find every single operator of the drones to like triangulate.
Right.
And the first thing they do, they just wipe it out. They install their own software, and in addition to that, they use an external antenna, which is normally being connected with the operator with the cable. So the antenna is about like 200, 300 meters away. So when antenna is being hit, the operator stays safe. But that's because like you cannot trust the Chinese. Like you have their drone, they know where you are. They can like spy on you, and that is not what any military operator can allow to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, Sergej Sumlenny, Director of the European Resilience Initiative Center, stay safe there in Ukraine. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks for the conversation.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right, you too. And that's all the time we have for this moment, but stay with us for more on TVP World.